What is up, y'all? And welcome back to episode 28 of That's No Moon Pod. Not a whole lot going on recently. Um, just trying to keep going forward in life and, taking one step at a time, day by day, trying to get better at everything I do. Um, News wise, it's been kind of chill, kind of quiet. There were some crazy things going on about Jamie Foxx being in the hospital and him being in critical condition, and that turning out to be a whole fake news story. And I was like, man, please don't let us lose Jamie Foxx. But that turned out to be some BS anyways. But I kind of wanted to use this episode as a way to discuss a recent Fade to Black podcast that I had listened to at work recently. Um, and this episode of Fade to Black had came out a little while ago now, at least a few years, and it was featuring Tom DeLonge as the guest. And I highly recommend, if you haven't listened to this podcast of Fade to Black with Tom DeLonge, they kind of dive deep into a whole lot of different topics regarding UFOs and consciousness and the government, all that good stuff. And I think it's like a 3 hour podcast, if I'm not mistaken. But I really enjoy listening to it because I had heard some clips from it a while back, and I finally got around to listening to the full episode. And they bring up some interesting topics throughout. Um, there was some that I kind of wanted to give my opinion on and kind of get into a little bit here. Um, I know Tom DeLonge, when he went on Joe Rogan a few years back ago now too. That whole episode is, it's pretty funny when you go back and listen to it, and Tom's kind of not dodging questions, but he's for sure tiptoeing around. I can't say this because of who it involves and this and that. And Joe is pretty much the whole time saying, well, there's a whole lot of this I can't tell you stuff going on. So right off the bat, everything that Tom kind of says, um, it just kind of sounds like it's BS, or maybe he's getting played and he thinks he's not, or um, just the whole way that Tom kind of handled the interview. I don't think he did the best job, but I think he was kind of put into a tough spot with Joe. Um, maybe not coming as prepared for what to expect, I guess. But I can't blame him. I still think he handled it the best that he could, and I really enjoyed the podcast overall. And some of the information that came out that he couldn't talk about later on turned out to be true with some of the people that he was um, trying to avoid saying names of who he was working with at the time, with all the WikiLeaks going on with um, John Podesta and the Hillary Clinton campaign, and just how Tom was involved with all these weird email lists with all these crazy top secret upper echelon people in the government exchanging emails talking about UFOs. Um, it's crazy and it's funny because um, Tom's obviously a big time rock star and just a well known figure within pop culture. Um, Blink 182 is one of the biggest bands of all time, and especially people nowadays in the 21st century for sure know who Tom DeLonge is, and for him to be randomly involved with some government people and exchanging emails with them talking about UFOs is just kind of makes you think like, well, what else like this kind of happens behind the scenes, um, and how this could probably happen more often than we think. And Tom was fortunate enough to have the obviously the will and the mindset to carry on with this certain topic and try to dig deep as much as he can within his limits. And it's just crazy to see, um, just the people that he was working with and the information that he got throughout just by talking and meeting with all these people. Um, and he kind of, like I said, he kind of tiptoes around certain topics on JRE, but and he does a little bit too whenever he's on um, Fade to Black. But I think for the most part, they still have um, pretty good discussions on all the other topics that he can talk about at the time. And it's just crazy, like I said, all these years later, how a lot of stuff that he couldn't talk about fully later on and came out that got leaked. And a lot of the information ended up becoming true, especially with the help of Jeremy Corbell and all these um, other people within the UFO community. Um, it's just crazy to talk about all the things that Tom was talking about way back then. One of the things that he brought up on Fade to Black was the um, Operation Starfish. And if you don't know, Operation Starfish was a nuclear test that we had conducted in the 60s. And it was us pretty much just launching a nuclear bomb into space right above Hawaii. And Tom says that during this test, it gave us a lot of information on some things that this nuclear bomb may have taken out or somewhat EMP'd some kind of extraterrestrial technology. Um, if you remember, not that long ago, someone in NASA, I believe, was saying that they believe there's for sure a possibility that there could be motherships in space near our planet, just kind of roaming around up there and sending probes down to our surface here on Earth. And that's kind of what we've been spotting with all these random orbs and spheres and unidentified objects being shot down by pilots. Um, and Tom says that he thinks that um, when we conducted these nuclear tests in space, the Starfish Prime, we probably got our hands on some destroyed extraterrestrial technology, maybe some kind of just crash from space, um, maybe it wiped out some kind of anything that was around near this explosion. Because if you look up on just Google Starfish Prime and some of these pictures, they just look crazy to think that, if you were there at the time just waiting for it to go off above you and you just see this crazy fireball above you in the sky. Um, I bet you that just looked insane to witness in person. Um, but like I said, um, there was a lot of advancements in technology after these certain tests, and we didn't just do one. There was a series of them, which was called Operation Fishbowl, and that was just a series of 5 nuclear tests that we conducted in space. And this was during a crazy time during our history in the United States and the world, with obviously, the Cold War, and fresh off of World War II, going into Vietnam War. Is just crazy time within our history. And there was a lot of advancements technology wise and with our military. And a lot of these operations with um, nuclear bombs and testings, a lot of them always have to deal with UFOs being spotted or hovering around nuclear test sites and ranges. Um, New Mexico's always been a hot spot for obviously Roswell and multiple other eyewitness accounts, and UFOs crashing, landing, taking off. I've heard a lot of crazy things just on New Mexico alone regarding UFOs, and obviously the nuclear test sites and where they built these things is right there as well. So it makes sense for why all these kind of intertwine and connect with one another with UFOs and these nuclear bombs that we were just popping off left and right back in the day. So I just think it's too much of a coincidence for all that to be going on back then, and just all the all the different crazy possibilities that can happen with just one. You know, we destroy one UFO flying around, one probe, and it crash lands in New Mexico or wherever, and we go down, we grab that thing, try to take it apart, see what we can do, and use it to our advantage and put it with our technologies. Um, I mean, why not? I just always look at, when you watch old Western movies, or, movies on the Civil War documentaries, or just when you go back in time, not even that long ago, just how limited in technology they were, and how not even to where it seems much time has passed to where we are now. It's just crazy to think how fast the advancements in technology has been, and how it would make perfect sense to where millions, hundreds of thousands of years ago here on Earth, that they were even way more advanced that we could even think of or comprehend in our own minds. Human beings just like us on Earth, but with the craziest technology that you could think of. And one of the things that Tom DeLonge, to kind of bring it back to him on Fade of Black, was talking about was Um, you know, if these UFOs or ETs have always been here or are coming here right now, are they helping us directly? Could they be helping us by accident to where this uh, Starfish Prime nuclear test in space shot down or EMP'd an extraterrestrial vehicle and we recovered it and try to strip it down the best we could and try to apply it to our military technology. Um, there could just be these grays, aliens, um, coming and flying around here on Earth that aren't necessarily alive, I would say. They may be some kind of um, AI, robotic, made by someone else type of entity. And I think consciousness and just the way that we think and how everything regarding UFOs and um, ETs and all this crazy stuff in this topic, how it just always feels like we're barely touching the surface with what um, we can even comprehend with our own minds. The things that not just us are capable of, but who knows what else is flying around out there or always flying around, but we just can't see for some reason. Um, Other dimension type deals. But I mean, that whole Fade of Black podcast with Tom DeLonge, uh, it just really got me thinking on a whole bunch of, random topics, questions. Um, there's a whole lot of answered stuff that, um, I hope that one day we can all kind of just finally accept for what crazy, just how crazy it is to be here on this floating ball in space. Um, I had seen some, I don't know if it was like an Instagram reel or a YouTube short talking about just space and how us on Earth and how little just us being here compared to the rest of the galaxy and all the other galaxies that are out there. I know that some people think that there's an infinite number of us, right? So if there's an infinite amount of me, right? That there's another version of me out there somewhere that did everything exactly to the point that I've done up to this point, and how long it would take for us to even travel from here to there in the vast open darkness of space. Um, and just for us to be here, like I said, on this floating ball with all these little minuscule problems that we face here on Earth that we kind of cause and create on ourselves, um, and all the troubles that we put on ourselves, and there's just so much more out there and within us, um, and here on this planet that we can never comprehend or fully understand until hopefully, um, when it's all said and done. That's kind of the whole deal at the end of the game. Um, but who knows, right? Those are the things that, like I said, we just can't comprehend. And I know I kind of went on a little tangent on this pod multiple times, but um, like I said, I didn't have a whole lot I wanted to get into news wise. I just kind of had some things that I had listened to over the week and kind of wanted to talk about it on here and just kind of give my take on things. But let me know what y'all think about anything I said on here. I think Tom DeLonge at the end of the day is a good thing for the UFO community. Um, and hopefully people like him can start moving the ball forward even more than it already is to push for more um, disclosure on this topic and let the people decide for themselves what they want, because control is always a um, strong method used by uh, people that want the power. And at the end of the day, we still have to make our own decisions for ourselves. And it shouldn't be up to some random old person who was brought up in a complete different time than um, a lot of the people that want to have and see progress in certain topics. Um, but there's always just going to be people with their own agendas who don't want to see change or progress. They just want to keep things the way they are for themselves, for selfish reasons, or, um, obviously their wallets or their friends' wallets. Um, but yeah, like I said, hopefully things change, keep changing. Um, Maybe a slow process, but hopefully it'll be worth the wait at the end. Follow me on Instagram at admire my moonsault. I'll be posting comic books on there still. Um, and that's where I put my links to my Twitch, which is at admire my moonsault. I be gaming on there, playing some Madden, playing some Jedi Survivor, whatever. Um, but follow me on there as well. Like, comment, subscribe. Got a pod coming out every week. Um, I don't know what I'm gonna talk about next week, but you never know. Something probably gonna happen. Just watch. But yeah, I guess that'll be it. Y'all have a great rest of y'all's week. Y'all stay safe, and I'll catch y'all on the flip. Peace.